Hello movie lovers, I'm Adam, this is Does It Hold Up, Box Office Edition, where every Tuesday we go over what were the top 10 movies at the box office this past weekend. We look at how 2024 is stacking up against 2023. We also compare Inside Out 2 to Deadpool and Wolverine because one of those two movies is going to be the #1 movie of the year, just which one is it going to be? We also flash back to a movie from the past, which is my favorite part of the show because I'm a numbers geek. I absolutely love numbers. So going back to look at old things that I've never had a chance to talk about before is so much fun to me. So stick around until the end to find out what movie we are flashing back to. But as always, we start the show with what were the top 10 movies this past weekend at the domestic box office. So let's go ahead and jump right into that. Beetlejuice Beetlejuice is the #1 movie again, which is no surprise because let's be honest, there wasn't really anything coming out this week that was going to compete with it. It brought in another $51.3 million, a 54% drop, a very strong hold for this movie. I'm pretty sure any movie would love to see that strong of a hold, but it's also doubly impressive considering the fact that it opened up to 111 million. Usually the movies that open up really high like that tend to see a gigantic increase, somewhere around 60 to 62%, so 54 is pretty good. It's brought in 187.7 million domestically so far. In second place is new to the list, it's Speak No Evil, the James McAvoy horror movie that I didn't hear a lot of good things about. It's a remake of a foreign film, which is excellent. If you haven't seen the original, you should definitely check this out. But McAvoy is getting praise for this performance. A lot of people are saying the movie is worth it just for him alone. So I might have to check this one out. It opened up to 11.4 million. I'm sure they wanted more, but that's okay. In its 8th week, Deadpool and Wolverine still in 3rd place with another $5.2 million, a 25% drop, a very good hold. I know it's week 8. Who cares? If it can continue to drop only 20 to 25% week on week, it's going to give Inside Out 2 a run for its money. It's brought in an impressive $621.5 million already. In 4th place, new to the list, is a documentary. Yes, a documentary broke into the top 5, which is impressive all its own, but I just really don't understand this movie. A YouTuber named Matt Walsh decided to make this, and it's called Am I Racist?, where he basically goes around to find out if people are racist. Yeah, think about that for a minute. It brought in a $4.5 million haul over the weekend, which is good, but I don't think it's going to hang around very long. In 5th place is Reagan in its 3rd week with another 2.9 million, a 40% drop, 23.2 million overall, way better than I think anybody ever expected. In 6th place is The Killer's Game, the new Dave Bautista movie, which I actually was really interested in seeing. I saw all the previews for it every time I went to the theater, and I was like, this is a movie I should probably be checking out. I really like Dave Bautista as an actor. He's probably the best actor to ever transition from wrestling to acting. Yeah, The Rock sucks. I know you guys probably love him, but let's be honest, he's a terrible actor. Dave Bautista, on the other hand, is really good. And this is going to be a good showcase for him. And I was super excited, and then I completely forgot that it came out this weekend. And I think a lot of other people did as well because it only made $2.7 million. In 7th place in its 5th week is Alien Romulus with $2.4 million, a 39% drop, but it has crossed $100 million, which is a weird mark that they set for movies way back in the day that we still kind of hold movies to, and I'm not sure with the way budgets are nowadays that the $100 million mark really means all that much anymore, but it's still fun to kind of talk about. It's made $101.2 million. In 8th place is It Ends With Us in its 6th week, which is very impressive for this movie. It took in another $2 million, a 45% drop, but it's at 145 overall. In 9th place in its 4th week is The Forge, also with $2 million. It actually came $14 million short of taking the 8th spot. Sorry, not $14 million, $14,000 short of taking that 8th spot away from It Ends With Us. But it didn't. It dropped 32%, but it's made $24 million at the domestic box office. And rounding out the top 10 is another new movie to the chart. It's God's Not Dead, In God We Trust. It made $1.5 million over the weekend. They included Wednesday showings because it did open up early, so $1.8 million already. 4 movies fell out of the top 10, which makes sense. 4 new movies in means 4 movies have to fall out. The first movie that fell out is The Front Room after just 1 week. Then Bleak twice after 3 weeks. I've heard good things about this movie. I'm really hoping it comes to streaming sooner rather than later because I kind of want to check this one out. Twister after an impressive 9 weeks, and then Despicable Me 4 after 11 weeks. If it could have held on for just one more weekend in the top 10, it would have tied Inside Out for the longest run in the top 10 of 2024. But sadly, it just couldn't. All right, here's where we take a look at a chart from the past. Not a chart from the past, this is a chart from now, but we look at the past, 2023, because we compare it weekend to weekend with 2024. This past weekend was the 37th one of the year, and when we take a look at the numbers, 2024 outdoes 2023 yet again. Last year, The Nun 2 was in its second week, and it led the way for a total gross of all movies of $62.7 million. This weekend, Beetlejuice led the way for all movies to make $93 million. That is nearly 30 or just over $30 million more. And what's even better than that is, a couple weeks ago we had the opening of Barbie last year, and you can see that's that big spike there for 2023, and we got crushed. 2024 was absolutely decimated that weekend. But the following weekend, 2024, had Deadpool and Wolverine come out, and that's where that big spike is. And since then, we beat it. Then we're about even, beat 2023, about even, and then the last 2 weeks, we have beat 2023 again. This is a very nice, strong hold for 2024 during this stretch, but we had a really rough opening this year, so I'm not sure we're going to be able to match the total, because right now in 37 weekends, 2023 has won 25 of those head-to-head competitions. 2024 only has 12. Okay, a couple weeks ago we introduced 2 new charts to the show just to compare Inside Out 2 with Deadpool and Wolverine because, like I said earlier in the show, one of these movies is going to be the #1 movie of 2024. It's just, which one is it? Can we predict it ahead of time? And with these 2 charts, we might be able to. This is the day-to-day chart. How much money did each movie make so far every single day that it's been released? Deadpool and Wolverine has been in theaters for 52 days, so that's all we're marking up to. And as you can see at the beginning, Deadpool and Wolverine was outpacing Inside Out 2, but it has slowly fallen away. At day 30, they were about even. And then Inside Out 2 kind of beat them throughout that week. Then Deadpool and Wolverine came back over the weekend, 37, 38, and 39. But since then, it has been all Inside Out 2. This will probably be the last time we see this particular chart because these numbers are just getting too small to really notice. But we are going to move on to the week-to-week comparison for these 2 movies. And as you can see, in week 1, Deadpool and Wolverine had a clear advantage moving forward. But then it slowly just decreased week on week. Inside Out 2 just kept creeping up, and Deadpool and Wolverine just couldn't keep up the momentum. And especially this last week, week 7 for both movies, Inside Out 2 made $620 million in 7 weeks, where Deadpool and Wolverine has only made $616, about a $4 million difference. Now, that's not to say Deadpool and Wolverine won't have some big increase over the next couple of weeks. Maybe there's a weekend in here that people just go out and rush to see it again and it pulls in another 15 million. I don't see it happening, but you just never know. But as of right now, if I had to call it, Inside Out 2 is going to be the #1 movie of the year, but it's going to be extremely close. Speaking of the top movies of the year, the next chart we look at is the top 10 of 2024. What are the highest grossing movies domestically of the year so far? There is not a lot of changes on this chart. I don't think there's gonna be many more changes for the rest of the year unless we get that big breakout movie that nobody saw coming. Can Kraven the Hunter be that movie? No. Can Venom, the Save the Last Dance, be that movie? Maybe. But let's go ahead and take a look at those top 10. Inside Out 2 is #1, followed by Deadpool 3, which is Deadpool and Wolverine in second place. They're about $31 million apart, and that's why it's not that big of a gap. Deadpool and Wolverine might catch them. Despicable Me 4 is in third, Dune Part 2 in fourth, Twisters in fifth with $266.3 million, but I just don't see it getting to that Dune Part 2 number. In 6th place is Godzilla Kong: The New Empire, followed by Kung Fu Panda 4, and in 8th place, Bad Boys: Ride or Die is $17,000 behind Kung Fu Panda 4, but they did stop giving out their numbers. They stopped reporting. Beetlejuice is in 9th place, new to the chart here with that $187.7 million. That's the only change, except Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes dropped to 10th, which knocked out It Ends With Us, which, hey, you had at least 1 week as one of the top 10 movies of 2024. You're not going to get back there, but congratulations on getting there at least for a little bit. Okay, that's it for the charts about the newer movies at the theaters, but what about movies from the past? This is the part of the show where we flash back to one of those movies to talk about how well it did. Did it make money, or did it lose the studio a crap ton? You're going to find out right now which one it is for Edge of Tomorrow from 2024. In domestic week 1, made $40.4 million. The studio got to keep 60% of that, so it's $24.2 million. Domestic week 2, studios kept 55% of the $24 million, so about 13. And then domestic week 3 plus, the movie only made $36 million more dollars. The studio got to keep 50% of that for $18 million. Yes, it only just crossed the $100 million mark back in 2024 domestically. It was not that big of a hit. Internationally, it was a much more successful hit, bringing in $201 million, but the studios only get to keep 40% of international gross, so $80 million. This movie did have a Chinese release. It's been a while since we've had one of those because older movies never got to be played there. Newer movies get at least a little chance to get seen in China. It made $65.6 million in that country, but studios don't have a very good system over there because they only get to keep about 22.5% of that, so another $14.7 million. The budget for Edge of Tomorrow was a massive $178 million. That is insane for a 2014 movie. We would call that insane for a 2024 movie, let alone a decade ago. And then they went and doubled up on it when they spent another $110 million on marketing. Where did all that money go? The movie grossed $367 million worldwide. After all of the studios took their cut, that means the movie netted about $155.5 million. Once you subtract the budget, you can see that the movie would already be at a loss, but then you also have to subtract the marketing budget, and you can see that Edge of Tomorrow was a huge failure, losing the studios about $137.4 million. Good thing it went on to be rented a whole lot, do really well on home video release, and had some other ancillary markets too, where they had some tie-ins with books and stuff like that. Studio probably still lost money, but it's a lot better than 137 that we have written down right here. Okay, that's it for the show this week. Let me know in the comments below any thoughts that you had about anything that we talked about. I'll be back again later this week with a new show about how I would rework the Oscars. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that. We're going to go all the way back to the year 2000 and work ourselves all the way up to just last year. And I'm going to tell you who I think should have won each category. Until then, be good to yourself, be kind to others, and keep watching movies.